Right. This is a pretty short video, and I'm making a bold claim here. I'm going to show you in this video how to become a millionaire for real. The thing is, it's like losing weight. Knowing how is not so difficult. It's the actual doing of it that's difficult. But here's how it works. Let's look at a simple example first. A woman named Mary saves $1,000 and she puts it in an account that pays 5% interest. And so her savings at the end of year one are $1,050. Her original 1,000 plus her $50 interest. How much does she have at the end of year two? You might think $1,100, but no, it's $1,102.50. Where did that extra $2.50 came from? It came from the interest on the interest. The $1,000 that she invested is called principal. That's the money you put in from savings. Simple interest is interest on the principal, but compound interest is interest earned on interest. And that $2.50 doesn't sound like very much, but over time, compound interest has a exponential wealth building effect. Let's look at an example. A woman named Charlotte goes to work, graduates and goes to work at a company. And this company, if you put in $20 a week in a savings plan, they'll put in $20. They'll match it. And that's not uncommon, actually. So that's free money, really. So she immediately sees the advantage of this and she starts doing this. That boils down to $2,080 a year. And I think we assume this investment pays about 10%, something like that. And so as you see at the end of year one, she has, or end of year zero, basically, she has $2,168.40. Not that impressive, but still, for a person right out of college, it's not bad. Now, let's say she does this throughout her career and that she stays her entire career at the same company. And that sounds unusual, but it's not that unusual. And also, these sorts of savings plans are sometimes portable from one employer to another. At the end of year 25, wow, she's got $187,000. That's pretty impressive. At the end of her career, when she turns 65 or so and decides to retire, she's got $1,062,000. That's impressive. All she ever did was save $20 a month. She never increased, even as she grew up in the company and started making really serious money, she never increased her investment. And still, she has $1 million. That's amazing. Let's look at an alternative example. Let's assume that she has a friend named Marcus, goes to school with him. They graduate together. They both get in the management training program, the same company. But Marcus doesn't take advantage of the savings plan initially. You know, he's young. He's not making much money. He's got beer to buy and car payments on his Dodge Charger. And so he doesn't save the money. But then at the end of year 10, he's gotten married. Baby's on the way. He thinks, I need to be responsible. And Charlotte's put some serious money in this account. So he starts saving too. So he only missed the first 9 years. Then he starts saving the $20 a week. And at the end of 45 years, you would think because he only missed the first 9 years, he would have a pretty substantial number to compare with Charlotte's million. But in fact, he has less than half that. He only has $455,000. Not inconsequential. Why? Because compounding, the magic of it works over time. Those initial few years were very, very important. There are many interest calculators online that show you this. Here's one I like called the Money Chimp. So we're going to go here. And let's say you had $1,000. You got or $2,000 for graduation. Let's just say $5,000 just for fun. You've had a good graduation. And you never put any, and you save it. You put it in an index mutual fund account, like I'll show you in a moment how to do or tell you about. And you never save anything else, but you save it for 50 years to when you're about 65. And let's assume about a 10% return. Is that reasonable? If you're investing in stocks, yes, it is. how much would you have at the end of your career? $726,000. Oh, it's not three-quarters of $1,000,000, and you never saved anything with that initial amount. Let's say you don't save anything right now, but you save $2,000 a year. That's a common number. There's some tax advantages to that number. Actually, it's a little bigger now. Let's say you did that. It's all you ever save, like Marcus or Charlotte. Whoa, that's $2.9 million. Wow, that's amazing. And you can pull up this calculator and try your own thing just for fun. Let's imagine a scenario where you had $170,000. Now that sounds like a lot, but it's really not that much. You've been lucky. You've had a windfall. You're in your 20s, and you've saved through various means and entrepreneurial activities $170,000. And let's say you're going to compound this for 52 years. You're going to be very healthy. And just for kicks, let's say that you're a really good investor. You can pick stocks really well. And some years you're going to lose money, but on average, your average return is going to be 25%. If this were to happen, what would you have? Wow, that's not million or 100 million. That's $65 billion. The reason I put these numbers in is they're a true story. Warren Buffett, in 1956, he was in his 20s. He had accumulated $170,000. How? Well, he started earning money when he was 6 years old. He had all these little business ventures. Like he put a pinball machine in a barber shop, paid the barber part of the profits of the nickels he got. And from the rest of the profits, he bought another pinball machine for another barber shop. And when he went to college, he sold his entire pinball machine empire for a lot of money. And this was just one of his ventures. So he had $170,000, and he put it in an investment account, which eventually became the company Berkshire Hathaway. And he's the greatest investor in human history. He actually does average a 25% rate return. No one has ever done that, and probably never will. But the point is, between 1956 and 2008, his wealth had grown to about $65 billion. Now, he lost billions in the Great Recession, but he has since made all that back and much more. In fact, according to Forbes, his 2016 wealth is $70.7 billion. So this stuff works. Now, a few points. What are the benefits and opportunity costs of spending income today? Well, if I want to enjoy a Starbucks today, that's a benefit. The cost is what I might give up. Warren Buffett would take the $7 for a grande cup of coffee and put it into a calculator and say, "Wow, that's going to be." Let's just see what it would be, just for kicks. Let's say it's a $7. It's a big cup of coffee. 50 years because you're only 18. That's $1,600. Warren Buffett would say, do I really want to give up $1,600 to have this cup of coffee? That's the way he thinks. So you have to think about the cost and benefits. Let's see, let's get this going back right. You have to think about the cost and benefits. And I'm not saying this is easy. Putting the money in, never taking it out, letting it grow over time, that's difficult. How do you do this? Well, you need the power of stocks. The low amount of interest a bank will pay you on a bank account is good for emergencies, but it won't be enough to produce these kinds of numbers. You need stocks, and you need professional management. A mutual fund is a collection of stocks or bonds or other assets managed by professionals. They buy a bunch of different companies, and you own a proportional amount of the fund, so you don't have to manage it. But about half the mutual funds, over half of them, don't even do as well as the market average. The market average, by the way, over the last 100 years has been between 9 and 11%. So some years it loses money, some years it makes a ton of money, but its average return is about a positive 10%. Index funds were invented in the 70s, and they said, look, let's just create a fund that buys all of the assets, all of the stocks in the market. In other words, we're saying we're going to be okay. We're going to be content with the return of the market as a whole. and they've been wildly successful. They don't have complicated sets of managers managing them because, in fact, all they need is an algorithm to buy stocks in the correct proportions to mimic the market as a whole. So they have low fees. As a result, they've actually outperformed most of the actively managed funds. And that's what I think you should do with your savings over time. And that's what the Elements of Investing, the reading I recommended, tells you how to do that. And that is how you become a millionaire.